Hey, Shalom, Lihaw Bashami al Shai Barakatha to all the brothers, Yahweh Shema Alatha, Bashami al Shai to all the sisters. This is the I.S.U.P.K history class. Monday night, we're back at it, live and direct. We're going to be breaking down how you honor your father, right? This is the oppressor's holiday coming up. The oppressor has some holidays coming up, right? And those unholy days, they don't pertain to us, right? Father's Day is not honoring your father, right? Before we start, smash the like button, share this video on all platforms, smash the like button, right? So we got a good one for you today. We're going to go into it. We got quite a bit of reading, right? The oppressor, he is the devil the Bible speaks of. So he's going to get you to do everything to go against your power, against the Lord, to do everything that you're not supposed to be doing, right? Salakia, let me get right. Let's not forget Monday night, Commander General YAHANNA with the heavy hitters Monday night, 9 p.m. Let's not forget, tune in. He's also live Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. and Saturday night, 9 p.m. Right? So again, if you're going to celebrate the third Sunday of June, that is not honoring your power, your father. There's a specific way to honor your father, right? And Salakia, how you honor your father is by keeping the law. There's no doubt about it. If you're not keeping the law, you are not honoring your father. If you're not loving your brother, which is keeping the law, you are not honoring your father. Right? So we're going to get into it. So we got Father's Day history. Father's Day was founded in Spokane, Washington at the YMCA in 1910 by Sonora Smart Dud, right? So a smart dud, Salakia. A dud is a shot that doesn't go anywhere, a shot that won't kill. Smart Dud, who was born in Arkansas. First celebration was in Spokane, YMCA on June 19th, 1910. Her father, the Civil War veteran William Jackson Smart, was a single parent who raised his 6 children there. After hearing a sermon about Anna Jarvis's Mother's Day, right? Mother's Day is another day that is not in honor of your mother. That is a celebration of another God. That's another religion. What are you celebrating? Right? Have you ever asked yourself, what are you celebrating? Your father is in need of your love right now, right? Many of our fathers are in jail, are in crack. They're either dead or buried, and they don't get our love, right? And the mothers, the sisters, they get themselves the card, put the father on child support, and then say, "I'm the father now," right? And that is not how you honor your mother or your father. The Lord hates it, right? Although she initially suggested June 5th, her father's birthday. See, that's what you're celebrating. It always comes down to somebody's day that they want to make themselves a god. They want to make themselves the power, right? She wanted to show her father love, so she decided to celebrate her father's birthday and said Father's Day. She probably got him some silly cup that said world's best dad, right? And he probably wasn't the world's best father, right? The only father you need is Yahweh, right? If your father figure is telling you to sell drugs, is telling you to prostitute your sister, telling you got to sow your oats and sleep with many sisters and throw them away before you find the right woman to settle down with, that is not a good father. If your father figure is sowing an art between you and your brothers, that is not a good father figure, right? So although initially suggested June 5th, her father's birthday, the pastor of the Spokane Ministerial Alliance did not have enough time to prepare their sermons, and the celebration was deferred to the third Sunday of June, right? And the third Sunday of June, Salakia, they also use June to celebrate Pride Month. How can you honor your father while celebrating Father's Day and celebrating Pride? That is not how you honor your father at all. Right, Salakia. It did not have much success initially. So this day that they wanted to celebrate fathers, it didn't have success. That's like when we say you got to keep a black man in the black house, right? They don't want that to be a successful slogan. They don't want the black man in the black house. So they dump crack into our community. They bind up our strong men by with the drugs, with hate for their brother, right? With locking us out of unions, with telling our sisters she is the woman of the house and she doesn't need a man. All she needs to do is have his children and Big Daddy Salakia, pause. And the government will pay her to take care of the children, and now she could be the father of the house, right? It did not have much success initially. In 1920s, Dud stopped promoting the celebration because she was studying in the Art Institute of Chicago, and it faded into relative obscurity. Even in Spokane, in the 1930s, Dud returned to Spokane and started promoting the celebration again, raising awareness at the national level. She had the help of those traded groups that would benefit most from the holiday, right? For example, the manufacturers of ties, tobacco pipes, and traditional presents to fathers. Now, how many men have ties, suits, socks, boxers, and just so much miscellaneous objects in their house that they receive from their children or their wives that they just don't care about, right? They don't give a damn about these objects. They just want to be honored that day, right? And you're not being honored. Fathers are not protecting their children by telling them it's okay to celebrate Father's Day and these holidays that have nothing to do with our power, with restoring the black man back to his power, right? Sons, Salakia, young men are going out and they're sleeping with sisters and they're not going to the father first, right? Young daughters are going out and finding husbands and not going to the father first to model that husband after the father to find out, is this a good man for me, right? And then you have marriages that fail, right? You have our sisters twerking on anything that moves. You have our sisters with OnlyFans only making $200 for the month, right? And that doesn't mean if you make $5,000 for the month to go get an OnlyFans, right? You should let your father choose your man, right? And if you don't have a father, let your brother choose your man, right? Let your father choose your man. Do not have an OnlyFans, right? You have to honor your father by Salakia. Ooh. You have to honor your father by letting him make the right decisions for you, right? Our society right now, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, are full of bad decisions by young men and young women who didn't honor their father. Although she initially suggested, we read that. In the 1920s, Dud stopped promoting the celebration because she was studying at the Art Institute of Chicago, and it faded into relative obscurity even in Spokane. In 1930s, Dud returned to Spokane and started promoting the celebration again, raising awareness at national level. She had the help of those trade groups that would benefit most from the holidays. For example, the manufacturers of ties, tobacco, and traditional presents to fathers. Since 1938, she had the help of Father's Day Council, funded by the New York Associated Menswear Retailers, to consolidate, systemize the commercial promotion. Americans resisted the holiday during a few decades, perceiving it as just an attempt by merchants to replicate the commercial success of Mother's Day. And newspapers frequently featured cynical and sarcastic jokes and attacks, right? So that was heavy what we just read. Pipes, ties, tobacco, right? Tools and other traditional presents, right? Every June, around every spring, you get flyers that have oppressors with tools acting like they're the happiest. You'll get an oppressor standing by his car acting like he's the happiest, and it's just for the money, right? It is just for money. Let's find out Father's Day. One second. Father's Day sales 2021. Right. Father's Day sales Slovakia. Father's Day ACE event. Save up to 50% on top brands. Right. Mayfair's Father's Day save up to 70% on top brands. Right. You know Home Depot is gonna make a bag on Father's Day. You know that Slovakia. Any hardware store is going to make a bag on Father's Day, right? We have Father's Day promotions promoting video games, cars, TVs, some more crappy ties. Let's 1 second. Let me find that figure I'm looking for. Right? A lot of Father's Day savings flyers. That's what we see. We can click on this retail, right? We're clicking on a retail website and it says make dad's day. No matter what dad loves to do, we've got the perfect gift, right? Barbecues, we got watches, all this crappy technology that is not benefiting Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? And it's give dad something special, right? So now you're gonna see how many fathers, they have a dresser full of cards, right? Full of Father's Day cards and socks and boxers that they're just gonna collect dust. One second. Father's Day, and not to mention the coffee mugs and the coffee. Father's Day revenue. Right? How much is spent on Father's Day? The survey revealed that U.S. consumers expected to spend approximately $20.1 billion on Father's Day in 2021. Good night. You see it right there. They're going to spend 20 billion on Father's Day. And none of that money is going into the Black, Hispanic, and Native American community. None of that money is going to benefit Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Native Americans need clean drinking water, schools, right? Native Americans need an economy. Father's Day is not helping the economy. Native Americans, Blacks, Hispanics, you are not supposed to celebrate Father's Day. When you celebrate Father's Day, you are slapping the Lord in his face. You have no respect for your power, right? You dishonor your father by celebrating Father's Day because some oppressor told you you have to celebrate Father's Day. Right? Many Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, they don't get to even sip a drink with their father because he's strung out on crack somewhere. Right? Some brother sold that brother cocaine in the world and now he's strung out. Right? Some brother went and murdered his brother and now that child doesn't have a father. So when you think that you're celebrating Father's Day, you are not celebrating your power. You are not honoring him. The Most High does not like Father's Day, right? Let's get to it. We got some precepts to bring out. There is a way to honor your father, and you celebrating Father's Day with a cup, that's not how you do it, right? So let's go to Amos 5:21. I despise your feast days. You wake up on Father's Day and you decide you're gonna make him whatever he wants to eat that day, and the house is gonna smell good. You're gonna leave him alone for a moment, but that's not how you honor him, right? You're gonna hand him turkey bacon and a tie when you should just hand him the truth, right? The truth is Father's Day goes against everything the Most High has set up. I despise your feast days. I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. Right? Many fathers don't even get to hug their children. They're not going to get to hear that, "Daddy, I love you." They're not going to get to hear, "Pops, I want to go up in the air." Right? Let's get back to our reading. Right? So we found out that they're going to spend approximately $20 billion on Father's Day. Right? None of that money is going to go to the Black, Hispanic, and Native community. That money's just going to go to some oppressor. You're going to get your paycheck and give it right back to the oppressor. He's not going to do nothing but go against the Lord. He's going to make some huge billboard that says Pride Month. That's what he's going to do with your money, right? He's going to fill up his pool, play tennis, play golf, and destroy some family and not honor the father. Let's find some more ways of how you honor the father, right? And let's just go to after the flood, right? We're going to jump around a little, right? Ham did not honor his father, right? And in not honoring his father, he caused his son Canaan to be cursed. So let's go to Genesis, the book of Genesis. I'm going to jump right into the book of Genesis 9. Right. So let's get into Genesis 9. 19. Genesis 9 and 19. These are the 3 sons of Noah, and of them was the whole earth overspread. Right. Noah had 3 sons, and they populated the earth. 20. And Noah began to be an husband to and plant vineyards, right? So he was a farmer. He decided that he was going to do farming, and he was good with his hands and planted. 21. And he drank of the wine and was drunken, and he was uncovered in his tent, right? So drinking, Noah became uncovered in his tent. He was in his dwelling, and he sprawled out in his tent, and one of his sons dishonored him. Let's find out that dishonor. 22. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his brothers. So Ham saw his father naked, and instead of being a good son and trying to keep the shame of his father, he went and he told his brothers about his father's nakedness. Right? And that was a dishonorable thing to do. All he had to do was cover his father. He didn't have to look. He didn't have to go tell anybody. All he had to do was not be like his kin, who are the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah and Salakia. All he had to do was cover his father and not mock his nakedness, right? So let's get that again. 22. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his brethren without, right? 23. Genesis 9 and 23. And Shem and Japheth. Now Shem and Japheth, they did the honorable thing, right? They took a garment and laid it upon both their shoulders, right? So they had a garment on their shoulders. They looked forward and went backwards and covered the nakedness of their father. Their faces were backward, and they saw not their father's nakedness. Right? So right there you have it. That's how they honored their father. They didn't think it was wise to make fun of their father, right? They didn't think it was wise to dishonor their father by mocking him, right? Let's get more into our Father's Day breakdown. All right, so let's get more into it. But the trade groups did not give up. They kept promoting it and even incorporated the jokes into their adverts. And they eventually succeeded. By the mid 1980, the Fathers Council wrote that Father's Day has become a second Christmas for all the men's gift-oriented industries. There you have it. It's about money. Now, some history can tie Father's Day into sky fathers or sky gods, right? But we're not going to get into that. Today, commercially, Father's Day is about money. It's about who could buy the best gift for their father. Who could buy the best #1 dad mug? Who could buy the world's best dad tie? Who could buy the biggest fishing rod and buy the shiniest ornaments for their fathers, right? Even though they don't love their fathers. Now, how can you stick your father in a home and then turn around and say you love your father? How can you not let your father see his children? Let your husband, or in the black community, they say the baby father, not see the child, and then say, "Oh, happy Father's Day," right? Every mother is they're calling up their baby fathers or their husbands right now to dump that child off on the father for Father's Day. That's not how you honor the Most High. You totally hate your child when you have him celebrating Father's Day, right? You want to show your child love. Don't hand him to the father on Father's Day. Hand him the truth, right? You tell him you have to honor your father every day. You tell him and hand them the book of the law, right? Give them the holy scriptures, the power of the Most High, right? A bill accord national recognition of the holiday was introduced in Congress in 1913. In 1916, President Woodrow Wilson went to Spokane to speak in a Father's Day celebration and wanted to make it official, but Congress resisted, fearing that it would become commercialized. U.S. president, now none of these presidents have ever cared about the black man, the Hispanic man, or the Native American man. They've drafted us into war. They've made us slaves. They've given us crack cocaine, heroin, weed, all these things to make us hate each other, right? Sent us to war, right? Made sure we couldn't get no education. They've made sure we couldn't feed ourselves, right? Congress resisted, fearing that it would be commercialized. President Calvin Coolidge recommended in 1924 that the day be observed by the nation, but stopped short of issuing a national proclamation, right? So he said that this day should be observed, but he didn't say it has to be, right? There are days the Most High said has to be observed, right? Passover is a day that has to be observed, right? First fruits, which is coming up on the closing of it, which is the 20th, has to be observed. Now, we got fathers in the school. We're going to get together. We're going to barbecue. We're going to eat good food and celebrate first fruits and break down these scriptures and celebrate the days that the Father wanted us to celebrate. If you want a day to celebrate, you just got to open your Bible just like this. You open it up, you flip, you keep going, you keep going, you keep going. You get to Leviticus, right? Leviticus 23. There's going to be days to celebrate, right? There's going to be days to celebrate if you want to celebrate something. Two earlier attempts to formally recognize the holiday had been defeated by Congress. In 1957, Marine Senator Margaret Chase Smith wrote a proposal accusing Congress of ignoring fathers for 40 years while honoring mothers, thus singling out just one of two parents, right? We need both parents in the home. If you honor the father, that means you keep him in the house. You honor Yahweh by keeping the family, the nuclear family structure together. That means Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, the father, the mother, and the children. It's a rank system, right? And that's how you honor the father. That's how you honor your power. In 1966, President Lyndon B. Johnson issued the first presidential proclamation honoring fathers, designating the third Sunday in June as Father's Day. 6 years later, the day was made a permanent national holiday by President Richard Nixon. Good night. Richard Nixon was one of the presidents who hated blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? He hated black, Hispanic, and Native American men. 1 second. I was looking for a quote, but I can't find it at the moment. Right, but these presidents, they said the biggest threat to the US is black unity. Black unity starts with the father. It starts with the men knowing that they are the Israelites and teaching their children that they have to keep the law. Hold up. Let's not forget Monday night, 9 p.m. Commanding General YAHANNA. In addition to Father's Day, International Men's Day is celebrated in many countries on November 19th for men and boys who are not fathers. Right, so we're going to leave that there for now. See if we could find anything else that's going to be good insight for these so-called Father's Day. We're going to leave that right there for now. Now, let's go on to a curse, right? Salakia. A curse that many blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans go through, which is child support. Right? Child support is dishonorable to the father. Most men want to support their child, right? But we have sisters. Now I know we're harping on the sisters, and the sisters are like, why you gotta talk about us? Right? But the child support system does a lot of damage to a father's income. You have men that are on child support for children that aren't theirs, right? Having to pay thousands of dollars in child support, and they don't even get justice, right? And if they can't pay, they can't work, meaning they can't keep a license. They're going to jail. Right. This is actually a thing in Ontario. Child support in jail. Right. It happens on a large level. Failure to pay child support. 6 penalties. Right. And one of them happens to be jail. Wage garnishment. Right, they'll garnish a brother's wages and tell him that, listen, you gotta give us this amount off your paycheck, and it doesn't matter if there's no food in your fridge. It doesn't matter if you're not able to afford this, right? There are license suspensions that happen throughout Canada and America, right? Now, let's get off that for a second. Abortion is another reason not to honor these so-called holy days, right? How are you going to abort your child or tell the mother of your child that you should have an abortion and then say, I need a Father's Day gift, right? We all know that, Salakia, what is it? Let me get with you right quick. Salakia. Right? Numbers 18 and Numbers 1 and 18 says, you are the seed of your father. Now I'm paraphrasing it, right? But the children of Israel, they assembled themselves, the whole congregation, and on the first day of the second month, they declared their pedigrees. The pedigree is your bloodline, your kinsmanship, your what makes you who you are. After their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the numbers of the names from 20 years old and upward by their polls, right? Now, we know that you are the seed of your father. How can you have an abortion, destroy that seed, and then say, happy Father's Day, right? Even worse, mothers are doing this on a 300,000 plus annually, and then turning around and saying, you don't get a Father's Day gift. Right? You can't, how are you going to destroy the gift the Lord gave you and then say Father's Day? And then turn around and say Mother's Day, right? That's not how you honor your father. Let's go into how you honor your father right quick. Let me get Exodus 20. Exodus 20 and 12, right? We're going to go into honoring thy father. And it's not that hard to honor your father, right? You got to honor your mother and father by keeping the law, right? The when you keep the law, you honor your mother and father. Ooh wee, right? You honor your mother and father. A lot of men don't know how to be men because the father was kicked out of the house, right? Exodus 20 and 12. Honor thy father, right? You got to keep the law. That's how you honor your father. Sisters, don't kick that man out the house because he has an ex-wife. He's been had an ex-wife, right? And you've had many husbands, right? That's not how you honor the father, right? Honor thy father and thy mother, and thy days will be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, right? You gotta make sure that you're keeping the commandments, right? You got to make sure that your son is learning from his father, right? You got to, Salakia. What happens when little Matthew's not, little Matthew, little Timmy, he's not listening, right? When when that little princess is running around the house not listening to you, and she wants to bring a boy over, right? You go to the father. Now, a lot of times we've all seen it, that there's a saying, when the cat are away, the mice will play, and they play well, right? They play extremely well. As soon as the mother says, I'm getting your father, everyone straightens up. That's when that everyone dreads when their father comes home. Now, everyone's gonna cut up, right? Children cut up, but as soon as you say your father, that's when they straighten up. And now it's like, okay, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. For example, like my father, he, like, I would cut the hell up. I was not listening. My mother could not tell me anything, and I would not listen. But let me hear that key in the door. Shh. And I was like, oh shit, he's home. Now my mother would be like, listen, go clean the kitchen. I ain't doing that. It's time to go outside. I ain't doing that. I'm trying to shoot this basketball, play these video games. I hear the key in the door. I'm in the kitchen, washing dishes and doing all of the things that I'm supposed to do, because I know that as soon as my father says, hey, and I hear that bass in the voice and the walls start to tremble, I got to straighten up, right? Fathers are for disciplining. My mother, she would cuddle me. She would cuddle me and she would make sure I have everything I need. My father, he would do the same thing. Salakia, he wouldn't coddle me and cuddle me and make sure that I wasn't, he wouldn't baby me. That's the best way to say it. My father didn't baby me, right? You listen to what that man said. And if you didn't listen to what that man said, there was hell to pay, right? Now, the wrath of my father was different from my mother. My mother could look at me and she'd just give me the look. And I'd be like, oh, snap. My father, it wasn't even just a look. He would, as soon as he says, yo, you knew it's that time. Like, straighten the hell up, right? Honor thy father and thy mother, and thy days will be long upon the land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Right? How do you make sure your days are long upon the land? Thou shalt not kill. Right? We don't kill. Thou shalt not kill. Right? You are killing yourself when you don't honor your father. Right? Thou shalt not commit adultery. A good father is going to tell you not to commit adultery. Don't sleep with your brother's wife. A good father is going to tell that sister, listen, you bring those bloody sheets home if you choose a man. That man has to pay a dowry. That dowry is 2.5 million and raising. Right? That's what a good father would say. He's going to tell her, listen, if you want that man, he has to come and do something. Now, Laban told Jacob, Salakia, even though Laban deceived Jacob, Laban told Jacob, listen, you want my daughter, you got to work 7 years. Jacob worked those 7 years. In this school, if you want a daughter, you damn near gotta raise up a camp. You gotta go to Alaska, raise up a camp. You gotta go to Iceland, raise up a school, right? Meaning whatever the father tells you you have to do, you have to do. And that's how you honor your father, sisters, right? Brothers, you wanna honor a father, you take his daughter, You make her an honest woman, right? And you don't leave. You like her right now because she looks good. She looks young. She looks ready, right? But you gotta want her when she's old, when she's gray, when she's wrinkly, when she damn near lights your car on fire and makes that flip, when she burns off her eyebrows. That's how you honor your father. That's when you want her. That's how you gotta keep her then, right? Not just because she's young and she's pretty, you get to keep her now. That's not how you honor her father, right? You got to make sure that she's well taken care of. That's how you honor your father. Let's not forget, brotherhood is a weapon. Smash that like button. Check out Commanding General YAHANNA, Black Watch, Monday, 9 p.m. Right? Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness. Those are just other ways that you honor your father, right? There's only one way to honor your father, right? Let's hold up. Let's jump to Genesis. Oh, we are right there. 20 Salakia. No, Exodus 20 and 14. Thou shalt not commit adultery, right? When you celebrate these Father's Days, these holidays, these pagan holidays, you commit spiritual adultery, right? Spiritual adultery is not honoring the Father, is making yourself a God, is not keeping the commandments, right? Let's jump to where is it? I think it's Deuteronomy. Israel, the firstborn, right? Hold up. Let's get with it. One second. Let me find it right quick. Exodus 4 and 22. So Exodus 4 and 22. And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, Oh, thus saith the Lord Israel, is my son even my firstborn, right? You can't commit spiritual adultery. You can't act like you're the firstborn of these other gods. You have to know that you are the firstborn of your power, Yahweh. That's how you honor your father. That means you have to keep the law. That means you have to love your brother. You can't hate your brother. How could you hate your brother and then say, you know what, I just want to wish a happy Father's Day? How many brothers are murdered on Father's Day? Like straight up murdered, straight up killed on Father's Day. You're not loving your brother if you're willing to kill on that day. If you're willing to kill in general, you're not honoring your brother, right? You have to, Salakia. Now, don't get it twisted. You got to go to war for your people, right? You got to kill all fake doctrines. You got to kill all pastors that say don't keep the law. And when I say kill, that doesn't mean you go and cut him. That means you cut him with scripture. You debate that pastor and make sure that he knows that you're supposed to keep the law, right? You can't commit spiritual adultery on the Lord and think that you're honoring the Father. That's not how you honor the Father, right? Adam and Eve committed adultery on the Lord, right? They went against the Lord and they paid the price. They learned that you're not supposed to go into the culture of the other heathens, right? You don't go into the culture of the heathens and think that now you get to celebrate the Lord and now the Lord is with you, right? The Lord is only going to be with you if you keep his laws, statutes, and commandments. Let's get to Genesis 2. Where we at? Let's get to Genesis 2. Right? The Lord decided that he was going to make Adam the ruler of all the earth in these times, right? So now let's go to Genesis 1 and 28. And God blessed them and said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the air and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth, right? Adam honored the Lord by doing this, right? This is what he was supposed to do to honor the Lord, right? Let's jump down, right? He kept the law, right? He wasn't supposed to go into the culture of the heathens, right? But let's find out what happened. Verse 15, and the Lord God took man and put him into the garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest eat freely. 17, but the tree of knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. Right? When you don't honor the Father, you will die. When you don't keep his commandments, you will die. You got to keep his commandments. 18. And God said, it is not, Salakia, we'll drop that right there. Right? You got to keep the Lord's commandments. When Adam didn't keep the Lord's commandments, when he dishonored his father by doing what his rib wanted, he learned the hard way that you're not supposed to celebrate Father's Day, right? He learned the hard way that you're not supposed to celebrate Father's Day, right? You honor your father by doing what he says. Abraham honored the Most High. He was willing to sacrifice Isaac, right? To make sure that he was honoring the Most High. He never said, I'm going to celebrate Father's Day. He never said, no, today is my day. I'm not sacrificing Isaac. I'm going to just do whatever the hell I want to do, and that's going to make me honorable. Abraham was willing to sacrifice Isaac, right? At the end of it, Isaac honored Abraham by listening to him. He went and got a wife of his own kindred, of his own kinsman. Let's find that right quick, right? Let's jump back to Genesis 20 something. 1 second. Let me find it right quick. Right. We got to find out how Isaac honored Abraham. Slovakia. Hold up. (24:1). Right. So Abraham, if we go to Genesis 24:1, and Abraham was old, right, and well stricken in age, and the Lord had blessed Abraham in all things. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant of his house that ruled over all that he had, Put, I pray thee, hand under thy thigh. Right. So he was making a promise, right? And I will make thee swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of earth, that thou shalt not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanites amongst whom I dwell. Right? So they were in the land of Canaan, and Abraham knew not to get a Canaanite wife. That was dishonor for the Lord, right? Let's hold that right there. That was dishonor for the Lord for him to get a Canaanite wife for his son. Let's jump to precept. Precept. Deuteronomy 7:3. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son, for they will turn away thy son from following me, and they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you, and destroy thee suddenly. Right? So we weren't supposed to take women of the other nation. That's what Abraham wanted for Isaac. Isaac honored Abraham by that, right? But now let's jump back to Genesis 24:4. But thou shalt go unto my country and to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son Isaac. And the servant said unto him, Peradventure, the woman will not be willing to follow me unto this land. Must I need bring thy son again unto the land from whence thou comest? And Abraham said unto him, Beware thou that thou that thou bring not my son thither again. Right? So, Salakia, and Abraham said unto him, and the Lord God of heaven took me from thy father's house and from the land of my kindred, and which spake unto me, and swear unto me, saying, unto thy seed I will give this land. He shall send his angels before thee, and thou shalt take a wife unto my son from thence. Right? So that's how Isaac got his wife, by honoring his father. Right? His father wanted him to go get a wife from his kindred, and that's what he did. Right? What there are other ways that you honor your father, right? Let's find another way that you honor your father. Yeah. Let's find some more of the law. Right? You gotta go into the law to figure out how you honor your father. Right? So as we go into the law, we found out that you can't marry a woman from the other nation. Right? That was one of them. We found out that you gotta eat certain foods. Right? Let's go into the law of the dietary law. You gotta eat certain foods. Right? Let's get into that. Leviticus. The dietary law lets you know how you honor your mother and father. Moab was not honoring the Most High when they ate the lapwing. Right? And they dipped that lapwing in the soya sauce, and that soya sauce got the world saucy with corona, with COVID. Now the whole earth is saucy with the COVID, and you got to get a vaccine. Right? So let's go into it. Leviticus 11, and the swine, though he divideth the hoof, and be cloven-footed, that he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean to you. You can't eat swine, right? That's how you honor the Father, by not eating that swine, right? You what are you doing eating that jerk pork? Right? You are not honoring your father. Many fathers, many blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, they're gonna have a cookout, and they're gonna decorate that grill with that jerk pork and be unclean to the Lord. Right? Let's get some more. Salakia, we were talking about Shalom. We're back. We had a little technical difficulties. We were talking about how eating pork is not honorable to the Father. You cannot eat pork. That's not what you're supposed to do. Right? Let's find out some more things that are not honorable to the Father. Right, 1 second. Let me get one more. Salakia, we're back at it again. So you can eat a ox, right? That oxtail is sweet. Like, I don't listen, man. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we learned how to take the food that the slave master didn't want, right? And we made oxtails with that rice and peas, sweet. We learned how to cook that lamb. That UPK Passover lamb was honorable. We honored the Father. Nevertheless, these shall ye not eat of them that cheweth the cud, or of them that divideth the hoof, as the camel, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof. He is unclean unto you. If you're unclean, you're not honoring the Father, right? You can't say you're honoring the Most High and while being unclean. And the coney, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. And the hare, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, Salakia. And the coney, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, is unclean unto you. And the hare, because he cheweth the cud and divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. Those are many things that are unclean. You can't be unclean and think that you are now honoring the Father. Right? So let's get back into some unclean things, right, that don't honor the Father. Right now, you thinking that you're doing all this is gonna make you honor the Father, right? You're doing all the things that you think that a piece of paper, a tie, a mug is honoring the Father. That's not how you honor the Father. Right? We have brothers in the school that they take care of their ribs, right? They honor the Father by teaching their rib, by guiding their rib and loving them and protecting them. That's how you honor your Father, right? There's no greater joy than watching a brother and his rib excel in this truth and teach their children, right? I heard my brother teach his children the Lashuan Kodash. They said it well. They said it like it was second nature, right? And he be teaching them, and they you might hear them talking in class, and you might hear them being children, and he might hit them with that Shema, and they say Khan out of one Khan. That's how you honor your father. You keep his law, statutes, and commandments. Right? You're not gonna survive these streets unless you honor the father. Like straight up, you're not going to. It doesn't work like that. You have to honor the father and keep his commandments. Hold up, I'm just looking for something right quick. Right. So we're gonna get into more of honoring the father. Right. So let's get into more of honoring the father. Hold up. This is acting weird. There's only one way to honor your father, and Christ said it best, right? Right. So you honor your father. This is Christ said it best that you have to love your brother, right? You have to love your brother to honor the father. If you don't love your brother, you can't. How can you say you love the father who you've never seen if you hate your brother who you've seen, right? Let's get to First John 4:20. If a man say, I love God, and hateth his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom he has seen, how can he love? How can he love God whom he hasn't seen? Right. So that's to let you know you gotta love the Lord, right? The love of the Lord makes the Lord want to fight for us. You're not fighting for the Lord. How's he going to fight for you? Right? Deuteronomy 7:2. And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show them mercy. Right? This is the Lord letting us know that if we keep his commandments, he's going to fight for us. Right? We were supposed to destroy nations, right? Let's get into some of these nations. Deuteronomy 7:1. When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, he has cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites and the Girgashites, right? These are just Hamites, and the Amorites, right? Salakia, those are the Japanese, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, right? These nations were all stronger than us, right? These are Hamite nations, and these are just nations that they eventually had a part in our slavery. And that's what happens when you don't honor the Father. Not honoring the Father will make these nations hate us, right? And that's why he said not to marry them, right? In verse 3, he says not to marry these nations. In verse 4, he says, for they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. There it is right there. You follow these nations, you're definitely going to serve other gods. Right? Let's get something out of Matthew. Right? You can't say happy Father's Day but then be angry at your brother for no reason. Right? That how is that a happy Father's Day? You're angry at your brother because he has a nice car, he has 2 ribs that take care of him, and he does the same for them. But you hate that man. Matthew 5:22. But I say unto you, whosoever is angry with his brother without cause shall be in danger of judgment. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Rakah, shall be in danger of counsel. But whosoever shall say, thou fool, be in danger of hellfire. Right? You honor your brother with just love. Right? You have to love your brother. Salakia. Let's get some more. One second. Right? So Mark 12:30, and thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind, and with all thy strength. This is the first commandment, right? It didn't say thou shalt celebrate Father's Day, right? Do I have to read it again? I'm going to read it one more time for you, because you think that this is celebrating Father's Day. It doesn't say Father's Day. Let me find out. Mark 12:30, and thou shalt celebrate Father's Day. It does not say, and thou shalt celebrate Father's Day. It says, and thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind, and with all thy strength. This is the first commandment. Let's find out what love of the Lord is. Right? We think that following those commandments of not following Father's Day is grievous. It's not. It's more grievous to try to find an apartment in the city of Toronto during a pandemic. It's more grievous to try to teach a sister who's been hurt by every man she's ever slept with because she didn't listen to her father that she deserves love. It's more grievous to tell a brother, you don't hate your brother. Don't go to blow with your brothers. Don't go to blows with your brothers over some nonsense. Right? It's more grievous to do that. You're gonna have a Salakia. You're gonna have a hard time. You're going to have a hard time trying to teach your brothers the right way. We see it all the time. right? You trying to teach your brother the right way, he don't want to listen. That is more grievous than teaching your brothers to keep the commandments, right? Hold up. You got to love your brothers, right? It's easy to love your brother, right? You just got to keep the law in your heart, right? You got to love the Lord. It's easy to love the Lord. That's keeping the law. His commandments are not grievous. Let's get that right quick. Hold up. Let's get it. His commandments are not grievous, right? So we're going to go to 1 John 5 and 3. Right. You keep this in your heart and you'll honor the Father. I'm telling you right now, if you don't serve the Most High, you are going to fail at everything you're going to do. The Most High has been humbling. The city's open right now. Let's see how long that is, right? Let's see how long it is, because I have a feeling that it's going to close again, right? Now, we don't want it to close because we want to have camp. We want to wake up our brothers. We want to chill with our brothers out in every province and wake up our brothers and sisters. But if you're not keeping the commandments of the Most High, good luck. Right. Hold up. Right. 1 John 5 and 3. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. Right? So I'm gonna leave you with that. You wanna celebrate Father's Day? You do it by keeping the Lord's laws. You want to celebrate Father's Day? You do it by celebrating first fruits, right? If you celebrate your father because the oppressor tells you to, you're not keeping the Lord's laws, right? So with that said, we're going to end this class. Again, Father's Day is not honoring your father. Security announcements. We are I.S.U.P.K, started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rules for new brothers and sisters. When a brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After the 6-month period, if a brother or sister has interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes is a commandment, Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3 verses 8 to 10. Ma'ashara, which means 10th in Hebrew, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the Treasury Department. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Up and coming holy convocations. The next up and coming holy convocation is closing of the Feast of First Fruits, which is June 20th, 2021. If you need any information or want to observe first fruits with the priests and prophets of the Lord, hit me up, Zabadja Benjamite or Zabadja Benjamite at Gmail, which Zabadja Benjamite at Facebook, right? Or Zabadja on Instagram. You could also hit up your camp leader, Officer 5000 Aban, right? Aban UPK on Facebook. You could also message us on I.S.U.P.K Canada Facebook and I.S.U.P.K Canada Instagram. Reminder to check the www.com. Reminder to Akium and Aquath to check ISUPK.com for any up and coming information. If anybody wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black, boots, shirts, pants, headband, and scarf. With that said, check out Commanding General YAHANNA, Blackwatch. Don't forget to hit that signing link. We're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers, men of Israel, I.M.A.J.M, Shabbat, Barak, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Barakatha, men of Israel, Yadramata, which means hands down. We're going to give a courtesy salute to the sisters, I.M.A.J.M Shabbat, I.M.A.J.M Barak, Yahweh Shema Alatha Ba'Shem Yahushai, Yadramata. Class dismissed. Don't forget to hit that sign-in link. I'm going to drop it right now.
Guys, soda's only 99 cents. Yo. There's pressure that comes with the block. You could end up inside of a box when you get your knob bust by out after getting set up by a thought. Opportunity, it doesn't knock. Nope, that sound right there be the cops. And all of that stress that we talking still beats punching the clock. You think I wanna sweep your floor from 8 to 4? Fuck, I wanna take your orders for when your favorite star got an Audemars that's worth more than mama's car. Type of shit make you wanna say fuck the law. When your rent's due and your kids poor, nigga, we don't even own our own corner store. So quarter waters cause a quarter more. Wanna be an entrepreneur? We want sign checks. We want work for ourselves. We want on the nets. You're too much of a threat when you're on your own assets. So the only thing they show us is how to be an outlet. So we won't connect. Let's say hi like hola. Listen to Hova. Whip up a rover. Been watching Power. Tommy and Ghost Bra. So I need some powder. Fish scale and soda for 99 cents. It's hard to repent when you gotta pay brand. Making soldiers only money mindset. Make it make sense, oh, make it make sense. Making soldiers only money mindset. Gotta repent, and you gotta pay rent. Making soldiers only money mindset. Make it make sense, oh, make it make sense, yeah. You see the money is the motive. Repeat my history, crack cocaine is like a motif. It's plain and simple, way back then my mother hustled. It's in my blood, so I feel like it's time to grind. Just like the times when niggas died. Hold up, back then was the bad days. Motherfuckers push mad weight, I was a crack baby. Tell me nothing about my mother and the struggle. See, I love it in the struggle, trying to fuck with you. Hustle, selling everything in the house, goddamn. She ain't give a damn about scraps, goddamn. So my older brother had to man up, had to take care of us in the piece with 4 kids. I'm running away with no clip, no food in the fridge, no support shit. Got food stamps from the neighbors, towel working, there's no favors. Late night, he was shot bodegas. Local bread is to me some mayo. Kool-Aid had about 4 flavors. And when time went to cash out, I could lash out. Told me he take food stamps. $15 for that kid, broke for that shit. Then the young nigga noticed that he could.
Take a second, we reflecting with the light. But this look like I fucking love it. Wouldn't trade it to be right now. That's alright. I got to write it, but the devil's redefining words. No, I don't break a fold. I need and base the dough that recreate the flow. They think they making know what they forsake is so essential. Fundamentals get your issue. Guess who's on this instrumental with you? Damn, if we was family, you want bread and call it spam. I'm not a fan of Antichrist. They slayed the man, I swayed the Tim. Like here I am, the son of Sam is taking shots at David Buckle with pushing. A different discipline existed in this New York state of mind. 16, not known not the actor, but the theories ever not one thing in mind to grind until the scaffold turned his words emerge from Babel. Frontlines 69, I follow protocol. This kingdom built on God bones. So I can't love Esau, and I can't fuck with y'all. I ain't gotta say it twice, you vouching for the enemy, but look, my father ain't have a father, cause of dope, I'm anti-politics. Cause Christ died from a foe. How the richest nation locked the homeless up for being cold. How ironic they related, smoking weed to getting stoned. You trim your ways and seek they love. I'ma bring this salt back wet with a vesta dipped in blood. Niggas giving up when they don't even give enough. Going nowhere fast, niggas always in a rush. I give them love cause my brother's lost. Christians eating, watch they brothers starve. No way I can serve another God. I give my love cause my brother's lost. Christians eating, watch they brothers starve. I can't serve another God. Cold-blooded.